Are Shxrk and T3eny the new favourites to win the Summit LAN? Which European team were able to win a cup on NA Central, and who's going to take first place in this weekend's Divisional Cup finals? All of that and more in today's EU review. Now, the Summit LAN is just over a week away, and if you've been watching my videos as of late, you'll know that Sky and Scroll are the team that I've been backing to win, but a couple of changes have happened lately that are making me think that this may no longer be the case. Firstly, the situation over at Wonky Land has completely shifted. Clix is no longer going to be contesting Shxrk and T3eny. He made this huge announcement where he stated that he will be landing over at Scribbly Shores to spawn fight against Peterbot. Now, this is absolutely massive. It's going to be so good for the LAN, having these two huge names fight it out over at the same POI. It's going to be really entertaining to watch, but of course we are interested in what this means from an EU perspective, and if we are giving Shxrk and T3eny uncontested Wonky LAN in all 8 games in the finals, they are the favourites to win, and I don't even think that's a debate. Listen, you can say about Sky and Scroll, I still do think they are the best team in the world, but the reality of their situation is that Venno and Curve will be landing at South Battlewood and they will be trying to fight them in games. We saw that in the most recent Divisional Cup finals. Sky and Scroll are not as comfortable as they used to be. The situation is a lot more volatile. Yes, they will come into finals with a plan. Yes, they will be able to adapt to any aggression that Venno and Curve will send their way, but it's fair to say that it's not as tranquil a situation as it once was. Now look, one thing that I do need to mention is that Shxrk and T3eny are not officially uncontested for the Summit LAN. At this moment in time, they are being contested by an NA West duo of Salco and Minute. Now, the reason why in this video I will continue to refer to Shxrk and T3eny as being uncontested is because I cannot see this duo sticking around there. They have virtually no experience at Wonky LAN. They will get absolutely mauled off spawn by Shxrk and T3eny. And let's not forget that this is only for day one. This isn't for the actual finals. Shxrk and T3eny will pretty much 100% make it through to day 3, whereas I'm not sure we can say the same for these guys. So yes, lots of people are now going to be panicking about Shxrk and T3eny being contested. I wouldn't worry too much. I still think their situation is very good. I still think they are the favourites to win. And look, uncontested Wonky Land is such a strong spot. The loot you get from there is absolutely crazy. You've got access to the mini game, to the wheel as well. Shxrk and T3eny are a duo with virtually no weaknesses to their game, and if they don't have teams landing on them, if they don't have teams shooting them out of the air, there is no cap on how well they can do at this tournament. Yes, I know it's Shxrk's first LAN, but I don't normally take those kind of things too seriously. I mean, how many times have we seen players do well at their first LAN in the past? I don't really think it's much of a consideration in the Fortnite scene. Indeed, T3eny has huge LAN experience anyway. He of course came 6th at Globals 2024 with Chap. He came 2nd at the Eraser solo LAN last October, so he's someone that will be very, very comfortable in Dusseldorf. Listen, Shxrk and T3eny are actually uncontested for these upcoming Divisional Cup finals, so we will have an opportunity to see how they can do from an uncon POI. Of course, we're so used to them having to fight off spawn against the likes of Hutty and Fishik, so it's going to be a bit of a change of pace. Listen, I'll get into the map, I'll get into the Divisional Cup in just a moment. Just a couple more things about the Summit LAN. We had the unfortunate news that Shxrk will not be able to compete at the LAN. This is because his visa got declined. Very unfortunate situation. It feels like with a lot of these Russian, Ukrainian, Belarusian guys, this is a constant issue. Of course, this happened to Vanya at Globals 2024, so it's a shame that this can't get sorted out. The big problem is that Repairs will now have to play this tournament as a solo. The deadline for picking up a field player was the 15th of May, and it has been confirmed that Repairs will not be able to choose a teammate. I would have hoped they could have made an exception for him given the circumstances, but unfortunately that will not be the case, and Repairs will be going to Dusseldorf as a solo. Now, I'll be discussing the Summit LAN a lot more over the next week, but for now, let's stay focused on the Divisional Cup. We just had the Opens round. It has officially finished, and the team that came first after 2 days was Akiira and Kurama. Now, these guys are of course the reigning champions. They were able to win last weekend. A really, really impressive performance from them. Interestingly, they did change back to their normal drop spot. If you didn't see, in the last finals, they landed at the split right at the south of the map, and they were able to catch the Midas flopper in 4 out of the 6 games, so they were running around the map with gold loot, absolutely running it down. This time, they chose to land at their usual spot of South Battlewood, which is of course still very strong, and spoiler for later, that is where they will be going in finals. But listen, these guys have had a generational comeback as of late, going from a very disappointing FNCS Grands performance, only just placing inside the top 40, to then winning the second chance qualifier, taking 3 out of 6 victory royales to secure their place at LAN, to then winning last week's Divisional Cup, now winning Opens. It's fair to say that these guys are back, and they may well have peaked just in time for the LAN. As you're going to see, the theme of this leaderboard is definitely comebacks, because we had Cammy and Charyy finishing second, and these guys have also really turned it around lately. Prior to last week, they weren't doing terribly terribly by any means, but they weren't putting in the insane performances that we would expect from them. They weren't getting wins, they weren't getting top 3s. That has completely changed. They of course came second in the Reload Elite Series Qualifier 3, booking their tickets to the Esports World Cup LAN, and they have properly kicked on from there, coming second in these Opens. Charyy in particular putting in an insane individual performance, managing the most eliminations and the most damage. Really good stuff from him. I will keep saying it in my videos. He is one of the most underrated pros in the entirety of the region, and it is criminal how little he gets spoken about. These guys also managed a first place on NA Central. That's right, even outside of their home region, they were still putting on excellent performances. This is super impressive, coming first on such high ping. Brilliant stuff from them. Again, I'll keep saying it throughout the video, it's going to be a running theme. Have these guys peaked just in time for the Summit LAN? Yes, the past few months have been poor, but this is the time we want to be hitting form, and it's fair to say that they've managed that. Unfortunately for these guys, this Divisional Cup is looking like it could be a bit tough because they are contested over at that Lighthouse split by Izzy and Nosif. A little bit of an unfortunate situation. Can they make the best of it? It does remain to be seen. If you needed any more proof that it is comeback season, then Chap and Flickzy were the duo that came in third. Again, these guys have just been nowhere over the past few months. Their performances have been pretty middling, but then all of a sudden they have just sprung right back into form. They came third in the Div Cup finals last week, now a third place in Opens. Again, it's fair to say that these guys are back, and it could be just in time for the Summit LAN. They're looking great out of new Sanctuary, a drop spot that has traditionally not yielded great results, but they are making it work for them. They're a really good team on paper, and I have to say it surprised me how poor they've been over the past few months, but these are the type of performances that we would expect from them. They are of course coached by Raz too, which is a huge boost, and honestly I could see them doing well in the finals. Here's the rest of the top 10. As you can see, no real shocks there. I do want to point out Truly and Uppal in 6th place because this is a completely new duo. Truly and Gonzo have seemingly now split, which I have to say does surprise me because they were looking really good together. Although I will say that when Truly and Zynox split and Truly went to pick up Gonzo, I was saying the exact same thing, talking about how it felt like an unnecessary move. So what do I know? Maybe Truly's going to prove me wrong once again, and honestly Uppal's a great player. I could see that working really well as a team. Now let's break down some of the other big names that did qualify. We had Queasy and Frodoxy make it through. This will be Queasy's first Divisional Cup finals since week 2 of Chapter 7 Season 1, so it's been a little while. He's had a real issue in the Opens round, but he has stated on a couple of occasions that once he gets to the finals he feels like he can put in a performance, and now he has the opportunity to back up what he's been saying. I have to say it was a pretty refreshing performance from both of these players. Yes, they've both struggled over the past few months, but everything seemed to fall into place for them during this cup. They were taking height without any problems. It looked like a relatively low stress event. I say relatively because Queasy was of course involved, but it was really good stuff, and I'm very excited to see how they can get on in the finals. It is unlikely that they stick as a duo, by the way. There are pretty strong rumours that Queasy will be going to NA Central very soon, so we'll have to wait and see how that develops. But also big credit to Frodoxy because he managed to qualify on NA Central too, playing with Marius. I'll give a full list of all the European qualifiers on NA Central at the end of the video. Mr. Savage and Velo have also continued their perfect Divisional Cup record, qualifying for all 7 finals that they've queued up together, which is really impressive stuff. They've had a relatively tough week. It does feel like the vibes aren't quite as good as they were before, but I'm sure they can recover it, and this placement is just an example of how well they can do. We also had Noah, Riley and Reason make it, as did iDrop and Marius, who will be looking to improve on their pretty disastrous performance last week where they came in 50th place without a single point on the board. We had Chuck and iFrozy make it. This now means that Murstache is not playing with Chuck anymore, so no more full Latvian duo. Murstache played the cup with Velry, but he was not able to qualify. Now I'll take a look at the finals map in just a moment and give you my predictions on who I think is going to do well, but firstly let's discuss the duos that were not able to qualify, because there are quite a few big names that did struggle. Pablo, Wingu and Chino very narrowly missed out, coming in 52nd place, just missing out on the top 50 needed. Listen, we can chalk this down as a one-off. They've been qualifying for virtually every tournament as of late, looking really consistent, and I think they are allowed a little bit of an off day. We did have Veno and Curve not make it through either. Their vibes haven't seemed too good as of late. This will be something they'll want to recover in time for the Summit LAN. Dom and Dimash missed out for the 2nd week in a row, which is crazy because in the middle of that week they literally won the Reload Elite Series Qualifier 3, going to show that they are a duo that are incredibly capable, that are really good, but for whatever reason Battle Royale is not going too well for them at the moment. As you can see from this list, a ton of other big names missed out. Yapko and Panzer not making it through. Their consistency has just been all over the place. place lately. They managed an 8th place in finals last week, which was honestly pretty solid, and then going from that to not even making it. It just feels like you never know how well these guys are going to do. You can never predict them. We had Hottie and Shxrk not qualify, finishing in 51st place, one placement away from potentially contesting Shxrk T3eny, so Shxrk T3eny will be very happy about how that ended up. Acer and Rax didn't make it, and they have now split as a duo. Rax is looking for a new teammate. He's sorted out his Wi-Fi. He says he's in the best space he's ever been in. He should be primed up now, and it will be interesting to see who he chooses to play with. Okay, so now I'm going to take a look at the provisional map for finals and give my top 10 predictions. A lot of honourable mentions here. I think Shxrk and Kiro could do really well, but I can't quite fit them in. Same with Pix and Ghost, Sires and Scary Sean, Nebs and Nathan, and Mr. Savage and Velo, who are just outside of my top 10, but they do have Squibbly Shores uncontested, and I could easily see them doing really well from that spot. I mean, after 2 games of last week, while they were contested, they were actually in 2nd place overall, so we have seen that they can have big games. It's very much on the cards, and I'd love to see them put in their performance. But listen, into the top 10, in 10th place I've gone for Dan Depuzo and Werex. Now, if you're someone that watches a lot of my videos, you'll know that I'm always talking about these guys. I really like the hybrid French duos. You've got Werex, who's a really good French keyboard and mouse player, and then Dan Depuzo, an excellent Russian player too, who, by the way, I really hope gets his visa sorted for the Summit LAN. We've had no confirmation on that either way, but it would be really good to see him there, especially because Werex would have to play as a solo if not. But anyway, I like their drop spot. They're landing at the Akiira and Kurama South split, and if they can catch as many Midas floppers as Akiira and Kurama did in last week's finals, then they're going to have a very strong performance. In 9th place, I've gone for King Cringe and Twy, a duo that are just super consistent in these finals. They've looked really good out of that mid-map split in the past. I could easily see them having a big performance. In 8th place, I've gone for the other Cringe, who's playing with Volko. Now, these guys are landing at their mid-map split as well, a lot of similarities, and I could see them doing really well too. Yes, I know their split got nerfed a bit last week, but they were still able to manage a 6th place finish, which was super impressive, and I could easily see them repeating that this week. In 7th place, I've gone for Chap and Flickzy. Now, honestly, you may be looking at this and thinking it's a bit high. You may be looking at it and thinking it's a bit low. It's very hard to know where to pitch these guys. I think 7th place is fair, considering that we've only seen one good tournament from them, but out of that drop spot, the way they've been playing, there is a very real chance they finish a lot higher than that. In 6th place, I've gone for last week's champions, Akiira and Kurama, and put simply, again, just like all the teams on this list, they could easily exceed that placement, but I do believe there's 5 really good teams ahead of them for now. In 5th place, I've gone for Vico and Malabuka. They are uncontested at Frigid Fortress, should do really well out of there. They, of course, are one of the big EU hopes for the Summit LAN that have big potential to win it, so we'll have to see how they get on in these finals. In 4th place, I've gone for Focus and Thomas HD, landing over at Riptides. They had a great tournament last week, finishing in 2nd, but to be honest, they'll be pretty gutted that they weren't able to get it over the line. With the zones they had throughout the cup, managing to win 2 out of 4 of the first games, they really should have made the most of that tournament, and they weren't able to close it out in style, but can they come back this week? It could be on the cards. In 3rd place, I've got Swizzy and Pixie. This is a team that have been steadily improving over the past few weeks. They weren't playing too well previously, a bit of a disappointing FNCS Grand Finals where they got surprise contested by Truly and Gonzo, but I do believe that they've turned it around. We are starting to see performances from them. They're actually uncontested now at Dark Dominion, both for these finals and for the Summit LAN, which is looking really, really positive. I could see them doing well. In 2nd place, I've gone for Shxrk T3eny, and you may be thinking, how can you say that given all the stuff you were talking about at the start of the video, talking about how Sky and Scroll are going to be in a really volatile situation and how Shxrk T3eny are great from an uncon spot. But listen, the reason why I've got them in 2nd is because Venno and Curve are not in this lobby. It's instead Akiira and Kurama down at South Battlewood, and that means that Sky and Scroll are going to be in a way more comfortable position, and that's why they are my picks to win. Listen, they are still the best duo in the world. They are ridiculously good. As I say, they have every aspect of their game worked out. If they have to play in the storm, if they have to rotate early, they always have a plan. And Akiira and Kurama aren't a team that are going to give them a massive amount of trouble. They're not going to be super aggressive. They will respect Sky and Scroll, allow them to play out their game, and that should favour the Danish duo and allow them to secure the 1st place. As promised, here's a list of all the European duos that qualified on NA Central. It's going to be a pretty interesting finals with all of these guys involved. Subscribe to stay up to date with European Fortnite news. Thank you very much for watching. See you in the next one.